Hi everyone, what's brewing today? Welcome to Mocha Sip, where we deep dive into workforce transformation, AI-driven skills intelligence, and innovative talent strategy. So today we have Sriram Rajagopal. Grab a coffee, a mocha, and tune into the conversation. First, I would like Sriram to introduce himself, though I know him enough. We know each other well, and definitely I'll adapt to it. But Sriram, first, just would like to have a quick introduction from your side.
Evening, everyone. My name is Sriram. As Amit introduced, I have been in the industry. I've been a career HR professional for over 30 years. The last 6 years of my career, I've been an entrepreneur. I run a talent solutions company. I founded a talent solutions company called Diamondpick. We run large recruiting programs for our customers. We also provide a lot of talent advisory in the talent supply chain space. That's an area of passion and you can say some expertise for us based on the experience that we've gained working with Cognizant in a similar space over many, many years. So I spent 2 decades with Cognizant. Uh, I used to run HR for them till about 2014. The last 3 years of my career at Cognizant, I was running talent supply chain. So that's my experience. And we are a small boutique talent solutions company now. Um, we're operating in India and the US. So that's me.
Yes. So Sriram is a unique combination of HR head who has seen a company from couple of thousand to 100,000 plus,
Yeah, few hundred thousand.
few 100,000 plus. So it's a unique combination of looking at the HR journey from hundred couple of thousand to few 100,000 in employees, and managing the talent operation, contributing to the business, and a successful entrepreneur. You are amongst the fastest growing company in your field now also. So so Sriram, like it's a unique combination, and I am also proud of it that HR has created a company, a talent operation personnel has created a company, and I know your uniqueness that you rely on technology, HR tech like any other HR tech CEO in the world. Like I can vouch for it. So today our topic is Sriram, like beyond the horizon, transforming workforce transformation in 2024. Okay, so just to start with, would like to know how is it going in 2024? What's your thought? What's changed? How do you plan it basically?
See, most organizations have realized that skills is the new currency, right? We talked about companies transforming uh, from level-based work level-based organizations to role-based organization. Now the transition is role to skill, uh, and that transition is still, in my opinion, ongoing process. But it is getting accelerated with the advent of Gen AI because technology is evolving at a much more rapid pace than before. And as a result, companies have to become more agile and nimble, and the workforce has to become a lot more agile and nimble. And ensuring that you are creating a pool of skills that are fungible enough um, rather than going. I mean, you can't rely on hiring all the time in the market. There should be some level of fungibility that you have to create in your workforce. So companies are figuring out what that would look like. And as we look at large tech organizations cutting down hiring, one of the reasons why people are a little bit more circumspect about growing headcount is the impact of Gen AI on productivity, um, and how jobs will shape up a year from now, 2 years from now. So that everybody wants some sort of guidance, answers, or their own um, viewpoint on what this role or skill will look like 1 year from now. What is the AI exposure to my job or to a set of jobs in my organization? And therefore, how do I upskill or transform my workforce to be ready for that kind of change? So I think a lot of organizations are thinking about it. Some of them have made progress in identifying what to do, having a strategy in place. Some of them are in the process of just discovery. So it's a journey. I think some organizations, mature organizations, have already taken a certain approach. Some are still figuring it out.
Yeah. So, so Sriram, like as you said, there are two major things that has happened here. First, because of the advent of skills are changing faster. The architecture, the human talent architecture of the organizations are moving from job based to skill based. So that's the first major shift that has happened. And at the same time, with Gen AI into the picture from last year or more, it has changed many things. So as an IT organization, a big IT organization or mid-size, so is it creating some problem they need to quickly address? Sometime some they're anticipating and preparing for it, or something that has made them react or response early than others. So do you think of anything, because you have been working with so many organization, in touch with them, you yourself were leading a 200,000 plus people organization there. So, what's your thought there?
See, every risk management team within a mid-sized firm or a large-sized firm, anybody who is looking at enterprise risk will also factor this into account. The economic impact or the impact of Gen AI on their workforce, right? How much of potential redundancy could be there, or how much of reskilling one has to do for this workforce to be uh, upwardly mobile.
Hmm.
Because one thing that Gen AI has done is, to a certain extent, it can commoditize expertise, right? So somebody who is not as skilled can become skilled with a little bit of training around some Gen AI tools. You don't need expertise all the time. So I can reconfigure my workforce for the future. So I do see a lot of the organizations that we work with are already putting reskilling plans in place, upskilling plans in place. They're also cautious about this kind of early career talent that they want to hire. So there is change. I think, as you rightly said, people are thinking about it. People are doing something about it. Now, what they are doing varies from organization to organization, and the risk appetite for that organization. Because in the last 2 years, as you would have seen, um, growth is sort of neutral to just positive, right?
Yeah.
So it's given organizations a lot of time to think about how they want to structure their workforce when growth comes back, right? So we want to go and do what we did in 2021, early 2022, or take a more cautious approach and improve productivity, use tools to improve productivity when growth comes back, and not just add people, and also provide them the skills that will allow them to be more productive. Um, and it's not just the skills, right? Upskilling requires, or upskilling through internal mobility requires understanding where they can go, right? Person in who has certain a set of skills in a job role. What kind of future job roles can they move to? How quickly can they get there? Um, so people are investing in tools, not just their own tools, third-party tools to help them figure it out, and then align their investments accordingly.
Okay. So basically, skill first transformation is having a major pivot for workforce transformation.
See, more than before, when you look at a chief learning officer or a L&D function, it was still an enabling function. It is still an enabling function, but it was not contributing to core fulfillment or any of those KPIs around revenue generation. Right today, a lot of focus is going into that organization to say how to create a skills first organization, how to create an integrated skills management framework, um, how to create your own taxonomy or buy a taxonomy that allows you to map people to skills, jobs to skills. How do you understand demand and supply? How do you understand gaps? Um, and and then look at how to fill those gaps. Do you buy? Do you build? Do you borrow? These are the, I'd say, thoughts. These are discussions in boardrooms today. It's no longer just an HR function running training programs, but it's actually contributing to key fulfillment goals in many organizations.
Yeah. So Sriram, traditionally, like build, buy, and borrow, you talked about. Borrow was not a major function in the past, at least in scenario of Indian territory. In Western world, a contingent workforce has always been a like major thing. So is it picking up? Like, are they going to that mode even more often than earlier?
Yes and no. See, there's always this notion that borrowed talent is more expensive than internal talent. Uh, I mean, it's a notion. Many times you can prove it wrong for specific roles, especially roles that are or skills that are sufficiently commoditized in the market. They are available in abundance. You can push the cost down as much as you want, even for borrowed talent. Um, but that recognition is available with larger firms that have strong FP&A teams that have figured this out. Okay, with smaller companies where an external consultant comes and tells you, contractors are more expensive, then you take a more reactive approach to you. You hire them when you want, but you just downsize it. And that's the nature of contingent talent, right? So you don't need them, you don't use them. Uh, but a more strategic approach is required to figure out what skills I want to build within the organization, what I shouldn't build, especially takes testing, for example. Uh, how much of manual testing will remain? How much of testing will get automated? How much of SDET are required? And therefore, how much of investment do I put in creating a full-fledged testing organization, or do I rely on freelancers? Do I look at the marketplace for other channels, alternative modes of uh, talent? Today, that is still not a fully explored option. See, product companies in the US, especially post-COVID, the access to talent markets were opened up like never before, right? You suddenly had Turings and a few other companies getting you access to talent in Latin America, Eastern Europe, Africa, which was not accessible to many of the product companies in Silicon Valley before. So today, you have a steady stream of workforce coming from many of these countries at a lower cost. Uh, you know, but the larger scale is available only here, right? So to that extent, companies know that if they have scale here and if they know how to crack the market here, they can survive. They don't need to go expand.
So Sriram, like we talked about skill gaps. So can you like share or think of any example where organizations are finding skill gap effectively, managing it effectively, and deploying it fast and optimizing in the process, and how technologies or tools are working, or how are they addressing this problem basically?
See, at least in mature organizations
Mhm.
where the nature of your engagement allows you to create a pyramid and uh, put you in a position to hire a near fit candidate, not 100% fit, but a near fit. Okay, what does it mean for a near fit? So when you have a job role requiring 5 skills, uh, could be let's say Java, Spring Boot, Hibernate, um, and maybe React and microservices, uh, or some integration services. Okay, I have everything else, but I've never worked on integration services before. Uh, but I know now with the skills intelligence availability of skills intelligence platforms that training somebody on integration middleware is only a 4-week affair, right? So if you have somebody who's strong in all the other skills, and this is the only thing that's missing, it's very much possible for organizations to retool that person to add, let's say, MuleSoft as a adjacent skill for a person. So we know of many organizations that have internal targets for fulfillment through skilling. Okay, and that's where they are able to identify such opportunities, right? So when you have a base skill or a base set of skills and you're technically very, very strong, it's just that you have not got exposure to certain other skill and you have a good understanding of the demand. I've seen organizations do a really good job of upskilling their workforce and using the opportunity to come on bench, because anyway you have time to spend. uh, how do you use that effectively? See, in GCC, it's a little bit more nuanced because you're hiring for a job role based on a budget. Then mobility is dependent on how big the GCC is and how much of internal mobility will be possible. So in larger GCCs, especially the banks which have 20, 30,000 people here, the same thing that happens in an IT company can happen in that situation as well. Because um, one of our colleagues was a CLO in a GCC of a bank, a big bank, they behave exactly like a services company as far as
Yes.
fulfillment is concerned.
Mm. Yeah, and with advent of new tools, AI is creating like generating everyday new use cases that can automate some part of business, can commoditize some tasks. So how organizations are anticipating and trying to uh, keep up basically with the business, and how they're adapting to rapid changes in this environment, because it's changing very fast, right? And it's not a time where a skill will change after 10 years. It's like becoming a mobile now. Every third year, either a new version or new technology altogether is into place. So how they're anticipating and adopting it?
See, in large enterprises, that kind of change is a little difficult, okay, especially when you have larger banks or companies that still have legacy code, right? There's
Mm.
still COBOL there, there's still mainframe, there's still, right? So whatever you do on this side, uh, it may work in a new product development, new platform development, new application development, right? So, but when you're looking at an enterprise which has legacy code, many of that may not be immediately possible, right? So you have to migrate it uh, to a to the cloud wherever possible, and then apply some of these things. So the process of cloud migration is happening. Once you migrate the application to the cloud, and then you can do whatever productivity that you want to do. But till such time the application is not ported and it's still on legacy, and you're just interfacing with that application, there's only so much uh, you can do. So in enterprises, it's the productivity is not so visible unless you're working on the standardized tool sets. Today, your co-pilots will offer you some level of automated documentation, some level of test case development. So you can, as a programmer, focus on building the logic and not worry about some of the other things that you would have otherwise done. So you can focus on the number of commits that you have to do. Focus on your Dora metrics and how good they are, and not worry about tasks. So task automation, there will be new tools that will keep coming to
Yeah.
automate tasks. Okay, at the end of the day, programming logic for a given context, even if you're able to use Gen AI to develop it, somebody needs to know if that is, that has the right functionality. It works across multiple systems. It integrates with other applications. So it's not easy to just uh, leverage Gen AI across the board for productivity. There are spaces, cases where you can, because you may still have a legacy SAP application where you can't do anything but to use that system. So you will create layer of engagements which will make accessing that information a lot easier.
Mm.
So the productivity improvement that we're talking about will be in specific service lines, newer service lines where automation is possible. This is next evolution of RPA and intelligent automation, right? So you'll have agents that will help you with, let's say, even some of the corporate tasks like marketing, HR, communication with employees. So I think I see a lot of those corporate functions benefiting from the use of Gen AI, even with learning recommendations, uh, where Gen AI can be leveraged. So to say, okay, for this particular job role, you are 80% fit, but you know what, you can be 100% fit if you add Azure to your learning portfolio for this month, and you will be 100% match for five other job requirements. So the minute you start linking new job roles and the pay attached to those new job roles, there is incentive for somebody to pick up that additional skill, right? If you say I need to do a role development program,
Mhm.
and there is no incentive attached to it, why would I do it?
Perfect. So Sriram, you talked about two things here, and you talked it from the customer's perspective, ultimate customer's perspective. First is there are some tasks that can be automated using AI agents, okay, and that may be contributing to commoditize or doing some task in automation, and which is for the new age service lines or new age things. And there is a legacy system running within the organization for a long that is focused on the customer problem, okay,
Right.
which they would like to take as long as problem is solved.
Yeah.
They are fine going slow there. So if I keep this scenario in mind, and I'm a CEO or I'm a CXO of an IT consulting company who's looking at this situation, the customer situation where some task can be automated through AI agent and some task legacy. So it's a good news and bad news both for me, right? As a IT consulting, IT services CEO or a CXO. So how IT consulting companies are looking at this changes in customer paradigm?
See, first of all, every CEO has to talk about Gen AI within their business. If they don't talk about it, market's not going to give you credit, right? So as a result, there is pressure on the CIO of that organization to show some POC in using Gen AI. Okay, and when they have to, they are forced to look at Gen AI use cases. They have to come back to the services companies that they work with, or build the use cases on their own, and then get a services company to participate in the uh, proof of concept. Um, so to that extent, IT companies are creating a pool of talent which has Gen AI skills, or moving some of their good uh, polyglot engineers or software engineers to take on these Gen AI skills and help with these use cases. So they can also develop expertise in a particular industry. And at the same time, they contribute to some work that is happening at the client side. I'll give you an example, right? We have a couple of clients who are looking at their marketing function benefiting from the use of Gen AI, because you have tools today for creativity, you have tools for image generation, you have tools for content creation. So they're saying, why should my marketing function be so big, right? So can I revisit that, uh, the way the composition of our marketing function, and then look at more um, what do you call governance, right? Because when you look at Gen AI or whatever, there is some level of governance that need to be built in to make sure that there is no hallucinations, is wrong information going out, some level of validation that needs to be there. So IT companies are creating and going after Gen AI revenue, because that also improves their value in the market. The more Gen AI use cases that you talk about, the more value you get for the organization. And to that extent, the hyperscalers anyway give partner with you to give you those use cases, right? So it's very much on the agenda. It is very much on the agenda to upskill good internal talent on Gen AI skills that can work on newer use cases. Um, so a portion of somebody's budget, right? So we have a customer who has a total budget of whatever, $50 million, but there's a $2 or $3 million budget for POC, right? To see how much of this will work. In fact, I was reading a Gartner report saying 30% of the POCs will never see the light of day by the end of 2025, right? In Gen AI use cases. But the other 70% will find merit,
Yeah.
and they will be taken to some sort of implementation. So that's where the real opportunity is.
Got it. Got it.
So it's
So,
important for people to possess those skills, know how to use them, understand the language, because remember, every customer is also developing those skills internally. So if you are not able to have a credible conversation with them, then go to somebody else who is able to have that conversation.
yeah, right. So Sriram, like though I suppose that industry in terms of sheer numbers in billion may grow, but the rate of growth of number of entrant in IT consulting industry or software industry has at least currently has stagnated or has just have a smaller portion which is getting added and the number is still. What do you think in 25 and beyond? Will it be the same situation or like it's going to change?
So what led to the, you know, sudden pullback on hiring efforts? Because many customers, many enterprises realized that they sort of went overboard with hiring in 2021. Right? They paid crazy premiums to people, and that sort of inflated their cost of delivery or cost of release of product. So there was a bit of correction in the market, and there are certain other geopolitical factors that contributed to market being too conservative. There's no new discretionary budgets coming through, and many large companies reducing their IT budget by about 15-20% in 2023. But 2025, things are expected to improve. Right? So you will see uh, recovery because we've had the longest slump, right?
Yeah.
Take July 2022 all the way, still, I would still call it, I don't see it as a recovery, but there is sort of, everybody has hopes. We see some amount of momentum picking up in the marketplace, a little bit of momentum picking up the marketplace. And the good thing about Gen AI, especially Gen AI consulting, has a very low entry barrier. Because if I have to go and support SAP for a new customer, I'll have to go through hoops of procurement, show capability. When it comes to Gen AI, whether it's a large company or a small company, it's only I have access to the same number of use cases that everybody's had. So the entry barrier is kind of low. So if you start as a Gen AI native services company, you can actually you can catch the attention of CIOs and get a POC, because the POC doesn't require a lot of bureaucracy, right? I can just approve a POC and get it done. So I would see a lot more companies coming into the market 2025 and beyond.
This is interesting. AI, Gen AI, IT services company.
Gen AI native,
So, Gen AI,
native IT services companies.
native IT services company. Interesting one. Good, good. And Sriram, like because you being known this industry well, what are the emerging skills and any IT company like if it's at a scale should focus on? Gen AI definitely, as you said, is one, and there is no option to. But
Gen AI per se, right? I would say it's a category of skills, right? Within a Gen AI, could be a AI ethical governance, could be a NLP engineer, could be a prompt engineer, could be, there are many skills, I would say, under a broad cluster of what can come under Gen AI. I'd say those are the ones that I would say, there are AI engineers, um, there are, we've seen some very, what do you call, unique roles that came our way. LLM labelers, AI tuning experts,
hmm,
especially, because LLMs are uh, trained on historical data, right? So when you have to look at current data, you need to know what an enterprise RAG is and what vector databases are. So those are the newer emerging skills that people have to learn. So it's not just enough to learn a MongoDB, but you also need to figure out how vector databases work, how knowledge graphs work. So there is a whole host of information available with, I'm pretty sure, companies like you. where you provide. In fact, there was a very interesting site that I went to. You can enter your current job role, okay, and figure out the AI exposure to your job 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now. Okay. So you can say I'm a full stack engineer. Okay. And then it can show you the extent of AI exposure to portions of your job.
Yeah.
So I feel that you need to stay invested in looking at the market periodically, look at the kind of job postings that are coming out, um, and then because the market will start advertising for these skills even before they're available in the market, right? So, and it takes roughly 12 months for those Silicon Valley jobs to sort of become mainstream in India.
Yeah, right.
So you got to look at job postings somewhere else to see what are the emerging job roles in the market.
It is so true, Sriram. Like, in fact, we have done a POC in Southeast Asia, especially Singapore, where the a bank was trying to see how will it look like. We will, if, with the advent of Gen AI, what portion of uh, task will be automated for each job role in 18 months, in 24 months, and 36 months.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know with Gen AI will our payroll will increase, will it be stagnant, what we need to invest in, and also. So what you said, we have also done one of the like POCs of that sort, and it is so true.
See,
Mm.
what may happen is my hypothesis, right? Yeah. If I can repurpose my existing workforce, I probably will reduce hiring from the market. Reduce. I may not eliminate it completely, but I will reduce. To what extent we need to wait and see. Because, like you rightly said, I was working with a bank which has about 3,000 people in their technology division. A part of it is legacy, part of it is new age. So their worry is, okay, should I add 2,000 more people now, or figure out how to repurpose, reskill, create upward mobility, and decide to add another 1,200 because I may not need all 2,000
Yeah.
uh, about a year from now. So how do I look at my offshoring strategy? Uh, People are, like I said, people are thinking about it. People are talking about it. Uh, so, which is why there is that little bit of flux in the market, in my opinion.
We also seen in customer relationship manager job profile many tasks, including answering customer queries and at the same time serving them for basic purpose can be automated.
Yeah.
And only for premium customer there will be a human required.
See,
So
I'll tell you, there are some fantastic case studies that we've seen. See, underwriting, right? So, between multiple handoffs, it used to take, I think, 2 weeks with some customers. Now, you can do it in a day. Right? Because the agent can actually play the role of the digital agent can play the role of a physical agent, reach out to everybody that you need to know, check, validate information, process it, and then give you an output.
So, Sriram, talking to you, I need to switch my gears because you talk about business problem, you talk about talent, you talk about tools, and you talk about technology, and you swiftly use and stitch it together, a unique combination of entrepreneur, a talent leader, and a HR leader. So, if I ask you, Sriram, like maybe three words, what uh, so we talked enough about workforce transformation in 2024, but what are the three words you would like to suggest to companies for 2025 and beyond?
Um, Three words:
Any three words, just like Gen AI, for example, you talked enough, okay? But
adapt,
adapt, okay?
innovate,
Innovate,
embrace.
embrace. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sriram, for sharing your views and insights on what's happening in the market
My
and
pleasure.
take on it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sriram, for taking the time to do this. So, guys, this was Sriram Rajagopal, founder director of Diamondpick, ex HR head and global talent supply chain head of Cognizant, who has shared some great insights with us. Stay tuned for our next podcast, where we have some equally exceptional guests joining us Don't forget to subscribe to iMocha Sip, where the future of skills intelligence is always brewing.